Chris Eubank Jr. recently done an IFL interview in which he was driving his McLaren 720S, which is a 325 grand supercar. I think that goes alongside his Porsche, which I believe he has a Porsche, and I think he has a Rolls Royce as well. And that got me kind of thinking, how many fighters do you know who've had one world title shot and lost, who've never won a legitimate world title, or the best name on their resume is a faded Arthur Abraham? How many fighters do you know with that kind of a resume would have that much money? I don't think there's any. And that got me thinking how well Chris Eubank Jr. is managed. Managed and promoted, but mostly managed. His team, since he's turned pro, have manoeuvred him into the right fights at the right time. I know you could argue the Billy Joe Saunders fight maybe wasn't right, but realistically, I think Eubank Jr. would have frozen that fight the same way he frozen the George Groves fight, regardless of when it was or how it was. That was in Eubank Jr. I think Eubank Jr., when it comes to these big occasions, at least back then anyway, he just wasn't mentally ready. You know, the management side done their job. Everything might have gone well, but he just wasn't ready mentally. And there's no guarantee he'll be ready mentally in this James DeGale fight. But I think he will be. And I think even if he's not 100%, I think DeGale's just too far gone to be any real threat. Not to say it won't be a close fight, I'm sure it will. But I just think DeGale, even if it's a Eubank Jr. who's not at 100%, who's kind of, not there, I'd still think it'd be enough to beat James DeGale. Anyway, I want to get back onto the management side of things. Eubank Jr. in terms of how he was managed. Now, Eubank Jr. and Senior to an extent, I think Senior drummed it home early on that his son was better than Floyd Mayweather, I think he said. And that kind of started putting people kind of getting attention to Eubank Jr. And some of the trash talking that's gone along, the calling out Golovkin, I think that the way they handle various other situations, all that has brought the Eubank name kind of higher and higher and higher. And it's helped progress Junior. Because people, even when, Eubank Jr. was fighting these British level guys, like your Nick Blackwells, like your, God, what was the guy's name he fought on? I can't remember. He fought some guy on AJ Brazil. I completely forget his name now. Stopped him 4 rounds. So when Eubank Jr. went and started fighting guys like that, he was still making decent money. He was still high enough on the card. He was still featured on, promising cards as well, like Anthony Joshua cards. And it got me thinking, how, when his management sit down to, plan out Eubank Jr.'s career, did they really plan on it being this successful? I know his career hasn't been successful in terms of winning world titles or getting, major names, but in terms of making money, it's been fantastically successful. Eubank Jr. is a millionaire, and he doesn't have a millionaire's resume. I'm sure there are boxers who have better resumes, maybe like your Ray Beltran, who probably might not even have as much money. Not necessarily say Ray Beltran has a better resume, but have done similar things in terms of they fought world level guys, but they probably don't have as much money. So, Eubank Jr. from a management point of view, his team have to be applauded for getting him in the position that he is in. And if you look at another fighter, which I'm going to name, now these two fighters are nowhere near as good. So Eubank Jr. is nowhere near as good as the fighter in question, I should say, not two fighters. Look at a guy called Steve Collins Jr. All right. Now, Steve Collins Sr. and Chris Eubank Sr. fought twice, and Collins beat him both times. And both their sons turned pro around about the same time. Both had very little amateur experience. But look at the contrast of their two careers. Now, Eubank Jr. is a hell of a lot more talented than Collins Jr. I can tell you that for a fact. Definitely. But Collins Jr. had his dad in his corner for a few fights. He was getting some exposure on some of Frank Warren's shows. Where is he now? He's lost a couple of times. He's still fighting on small hall shows. He's stuck in between cruiser and super middle. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's a fact. It's true. He'll even admit it. So his career is kind of just stagnant, whereas Eubank Jr.'s career has just gone from strength to strength to strength. Now, I know, as I already said, in terms of ability, Eubank Jr. is head and shoulders above Collins Jr. Collins Jr. is quite poor from a technical point of view. But even still, Eubank Jr. is not, a master boxer. He's not, the most talented fighter you'd ever see. His own trainer even said his footwork is terrible. So, Eubank Jr. has done a lot of it. Now, a lot of it has been picking the right opponents, which, goes down to management. So Eubank Jr.'s management need to be applauded, and for putting him in the position that he's in now, it really just goes to show what good management can do to a fighter. Even if they're not the best fighter, they can make some serious amounts of money just by picking the right fights at the right time and having, not just going to say good promoter, but being able to self-promote yourself the way the Eubank Juniors have. They've had Eddie Hearn helping them in some instances, but it's really been the Eubank Jr. show when you see them on stage, when they're talking, when they're at press conferences, they're really trying to get the attention on the them, whether it's senior or junior. Whether it's junior, trash talking, or whether it's senior, trying to troll, which he does like to do. It's all good, and their way of looking at it is no publicity is bad publicity, and any publicity is good publicity. So, those are my thoughts on this. I just felt I'd make a video on addressing it, and let me know what you guys think, if you think Eubank Jr.'s been managed well, and how you think the Eubank Jr. fight is going to go. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I have Eubank Jr. on points. I'd say probably 8-4 in terms of rounds. I'd say that's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think, and as always, please leave a like on these videos. It really helps the channel, and as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts down below, and I will talk to you after.